Let's head over to Zyrene at the Telestrator.
Thank you very much, Riv. And TSM, throughout that entire series, their adaptations were fantastic. You could tell straight off the bat in Game 2, immediately, Cloud9 was the one that was forced to adapt to the TSM play style, and it happened again and again. And TSM, they're going to need that because they're playing Immortals in the semifinals due to dynamic seeding. So the 6th seed comes in here right now. Set this fight up really quickly. You can see on the minimap, everybody's kind of split off here, but there's 3 members for both teams in the mid lane. And we're going to see as they trickle into this what the landscape of the fight looks like at that point. So as we start this clip, Svenskeren, he walks forward. He knows that Yellow Star has his back on the right side of him. And there's a pink ward here as well. So Yellow Star can jump out at any time and kind of get the jump onto Cloud9. Cloud9 try to siege this turret down because it's so low, and then they engage. Hai uses his ultimate onto 2 members, but immediately you're going to see Yellow Star breaks it off by going down to the left side, and you're also going to see that Svenskeren uses his ultimate to get himself back. So he gets away from the ultimate, and Hai has essentially used his ultimate for nothing and just a zoning tool. Yellow Star is then going to throw his ultimate and hit Sneaky, who is then forced to actually retreat to a path of safety up that way. And that's going to leave Jensen all by himself here because he's trying to set up this turret as Hauntzer is coming in from the left side. So as we roll this out, you're going to see Svenskeren disengage. Hai uses ultimate on nothing. Sneaky has to back up. Now Hauntzer gets peeled by balls, but Jensen on the bottom left side, well, he has to go after Bjergsen now, and then they all collapse on him as the Kindred ultimate is even keeping Yellow Star alive at that point and helping him out as Rush does not want to go down there, and Hauntzer and the rest of the team able to clean up this fight. And that was a lot of just disengaging and engaging and using the right abilities on the right people. But Jensen also tunnel visioned on getting that turret up and defending that position where the rest of the team wasn't in a position to actually get to that turret and use it for safety. Whereas TSM able to come in from multiple flanks and apply that pressure and use the Vel'Koz extremely effectively there. So the adaptation that we saw from TSM ultimately gave them that victory as the 6th seed over the 3rd seed there. And now out of 7 semifinals that we've ever had in the LCS, they've been participating now in all 7 of them. Now, let's hand it off to some of those semifinalists who's got some words for Dash.
Thank you very much, Zyrene. That's right. I'm joined by Bjergsen and Doublelift after a 3-0 victory over Cloud9.
3-1.
So
almost
3-1.
I mean,
my bad. It's just the 3 happened in a row. That's what it was. We shut the first one out of our brains. No, it's a 3-1 victory. Doublelift, I'm going to come to you first. I mean, you've been very vocal about the fact that you want to keep the TSM attendance to the finals alive. And with this roster, you've now taken the first step towards that by winning this quarterfinals. How does it feel to have won in that 3-1 fashion, recovering from the first game?
Yeah, after the first game, I wasn't feeling so good, obviously, because they had this double global comp that like really brings down your morale. It feels like you can't do anything. But the entire time, I just remembered our practice, and I think all of us just focused on like, what did we do in practice that made us so good? And it would be a shame if like we embarrassed the TSM legacy, we didn't make the semis, we didn't make the finals, because this was supposed to be a really good roster and we didn't show in the regular split, so we're just going to do it in playoffs instead.
Well, now, Doublelift, you're new to that legacy. Bjergsen, not so new. So again, talk to me about maybe the weight that puts on your shoulders, knowing that, you know, this organization has gone so far every split, and that the expectation is there that you guys do so from both the fans as well as yourselves and the organization.
There's definitely a lot of pressure because people kind of looked at it as kind of like when Froggen was rebuilding Alliance, I was rebuilding TSM, and this is kind of like the team that I managed to pull out, and we didn't manage to show up in the regular split, just like Doublelift said, but I think all the players deal with pressure really well. It really just came down to finding out how our team dynamic worked and finding a good way of practicing, and I think that's something that we improved a lot towards in the last couple of weeks.
Now, that being said, you guys did have a tumultuous season. That was no secret. But given that you had the 2-week period to kind of retool as a team and get in, you know, to a room and discuss how do we practice better and how do we play better, Doublelift, what was the result there? What was the determination in terms of this is the issue we need to correct?
Oh man, there was so many issues, but I think the biggest one for me was just everyone was trying to make solo plays on our team because everyone was like individually really good and they were kind of used to doing their own thing and then their team playing around them. And then like after the regular split was over, we were just like, damn, we suck so bad. It was just like so embarrassing. So we kind of sat down, we were just like, we need to start making plays always together. Like everyone is all in on every play. And after the first game, we were just like, okay, we have to turn it on. And it felt exactly how it was in practice, where every single play we made, we were all committed to it, and we would just like always clap Cloud9 mid lane, and there was like just nothing they could do about it, so it feels good.
I think we, coming into practice, we just kind of had the mentality that every time someone makes a call, every time someone makes an engage, you commit. You know, I know a lot of teams say this, and it's also something we've said in the past, but we really went all in on this. Every time someone makes a play, you're going to commit, and we're going to lose a lot of fights, a lot of scrims off of it. But in the end, it brought us really close as a team, both in and out of the game.
I mean, I think the replay that Zyrene went over kind of served to show, and the casters made the comment that this is some of the most bloody League of Legends we've seen TSM play, and it kind of only serves to prove your point that as you guys are making calls, they were followed up on. I do, though, then want to ask about how the shot calling has developed for the team, as it is a more bloody and intense game, especially against the likes of Cloud9, who they're a team that also goes all in on calls. Whether they're right or wrong, those guys follow the calls. So how did that kind of develop throughout the series? Did you guys learn and adjust how those fights were going and the way and the tendencies that Cloud9 had?
I don't think we adapted as much to their tendencies as much as we adapted to our team comp.
Okay.
We changed from having a Zed to a Volkaz, which is a completely different comp, and we changed our comps pretty rapidly, like throughout the series. So it was really just about how we wanted to play team fights and going off our practice. I think everyone just feels really confident in our team fighting, and as much as we could be worrying about them, we had really strong faith in our own, and that's why we just put focus on ourselves.
Now, you touched on the fact that you guys played the likes of Zed, Azir, and Vel'Koz, some very different champions. For you as an individual, Bjergsen, I know that there has been criticism to the mid lane, you know, that this isn't the team solo mid anymore, right? We've got these fantastic players that have the ability to carry in every role, so the spotlight, to a degree, has been taken off the mid lane. But you really kind of stepped up and were able to shine in this series, the 11, 0, and 6 Zed. What is it specifically that has allowed you to kind of broaden that champion pool and get back to the versatility that we've known you for?
For me personally, after our NRG game where we lost, me and Sven just put a lot of time into duo queuing, watching replays together, kind of understanding how other teams play around mid, because it always changes through time. And going up against C9, we knew that if we didn't play well around mid, they were going to play well around mid, and they were going to get Jensen fed. So we knew that however the mid lane matchup was going to go was going to be important for this series. So I put a lot of time in with Sven and Yellowstar and just how to control mid, how to control vision, how do we translate our pressure. And it was really kind of going back to the old TSM, and it was really funny when we had, I think, 5 people mid at like 10 minutes, and I said, TSM is back, baby.
There it is. There it is. TSM is back. Double F, I'm going to come to you as well, though, because as this is a team, throughout this series, as a team, you guys kind of showed that a different individual can carry each game. We had the 5-1 and 7 Maokai performance from Hanser, where he became just an unkillable tank. We had the 11-0 and 6 Zed performance. I can't remember the exact. At one point, it was 10-0 and 2 Sven, Scare, on Graves in this most recent game. What does that do for you as an individual, and what kind of confidence does it instill, knowing that in the first series of playoffs, each individual on the team was able to step up at a different moment and kind of pull you guys through it?
Oh yeah, this is kind of the TSM that people were expecting, and it was the one that I was really looking forward to. It's super motivating because when you're playing with people and they're just carrying you for games like Bjergsen carrying me on Zed, it's just like, you're like, wow, it feels good, and it's also highly motivating because you want to be that person. You want to be like solo killing people and making these big plays, but like our biggest focus was obviously on team play, but the fact that everyone was working so hard during practice in these last 2 weeks just was highly motivating for everyone. Like nobody was slouching or messing around.
Now, finally, I got to ask you guys, due to dynamic seeding, you will be going up against Immortals in the next round. I mean, this was a team that went 17-1 in the regular season. There's high expectations for them, as there are high expectations for you. I'll go to you, Double, for this one. What is the confidence level for you guys going in your ability to make it to that finals once again as an organization?
I mean, it's obvious. Like, we would never not made the finals, so.
There it is. I like the confidence. Well, gentlemen, congratulations on the 3-1 victory today. Super, super solid. Wish you best of luck in your next week of practice. For some final thoughts on that series, though, we're going to head over to the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Dash. Already touched on the first of it, that the reseeding causes TSM to play Immortals, not CLG, as I said before. But what a game from TSM to come out this strong in the end of the split, something we really didn't expect to see from them before, and seems much happier on the desk. Even after wins, talking to Team Solo Mid, it'd still be a very lax talk. They would say, yeah, you know, we played well here, but they seem to be very much more behind each other, much more happier with just the situation, the environment, the atmosphere they're in.
Yeah, definitely what they're doing has helped them grow a lot, you know, from where they were earlier this season. But it does make me wonder about in the future, if their plan is to always go in on every call no matter what, sometimes there are calls where you need to cut your losses and, you know, you only have one person die, 4 people back out, and you live and you don't give up a bunch of stuff. If everyone commits to every call, sometimes there are those calls where, oh, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
Someone called us to go in. Here we go. Now we lost the game off of one play, which could have just been a small thing.
Yes.
That's obviously fine-tuning that you'll get to later. Easy fixes. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think from the series overall, though, like it's a little bit strange that it happened the way it did because it did feel super hopeless for TSM throughout the regular season, and this playoff victory was unlike any playoff victory we've seen from TSM as far as how excited they were afterwards.
Right.
Like, we think about previous years when they win a quarterfinal, they win a semifinal, they're just kind of
Always
like, oh yeah,
expected to
good
go
job,
to
man.
the
Yeah, we're gonna do
playoffs,
this.
yeah.
But here, you could see a lot of genuine excitement because there was fear within the organization that they were going to be knocked out in the quarterfinals as the 6th seed and the underdog coming in. So that experience may have just kind of galvanized the team towards being a stronger force. But it's yet to be seen because they have literally the hardest possible path through the playoffs.
That's what you get for having a
Immortals.
lower
easier.
seed now.
Yeah.
We have seen, though, these scrim blocks these teams are hitting extremely long throughout the days. We've talked to Renegades. We talked to Dylan on Immortals. Like, all these teams are doing much more extended scrim blocks. And we saw it help Renegades. We saw it's always helped Immortals. But we actually see it here help TSM as well with more coaching staff to prepare for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I was honestly pretty skeptical about Reginald being like, oh yeah, I was away from the game. I'm going to step in and show him how it's done. It's like, dude, you haven't even been following the game. How are you going to know how to
He's
how
down
to
in
make it
5.
work?
Right.
He's down 5. But, just I think the effort from everyone on the team and then the renewed focus of everyone pitching in, not just Reginald, but Parth coming back and then also having Weldon step in and then the players try and take it to the next level.
Right.
Like, all of those things combined
Yeah.
end up leading to their victory over Cloud9.
It's the whole kit and caboodle, baby.
Yeah.
Now to close out our day's coverage, let's toss it over to our S+ analyst desk.
Whoa.
Aw, thanks, Riv.
Yeah, I got a chest.
But do you have the key to open it? That's the question.
No, I just play like once a week.
Exactly. Well, gentlemen, 3-1
Right.
victory for Team Solo Mid. I've got to come to Mark and Zyrene first, as you guys correctly predicted the winners of this series. So first off, feel free to gloat.
Yeah, I was obviously so confident when I was giving my prediction. I didn't waver between 3-2, 3-0, averaged out to 3-1.
Yeah, I got you. But
for me, it was really the Weldon effect. When I learned that Weldon was going to work with them, I have a psychology background, and when I hear that a sports psychologist is working with a team, and that's a huge advantage, and it's a team that has a lot of problems internally with intercommunication, then I definitely think that that's something that's going to boost them up, and we saw the results from Game 2 onward. But the draft was so good, and you saw that Cloud9 had to actually try to adjust, and they were adjusting to the previous game.
Yep.
So they're adjusting to the previous game, and TSM's just like, no, we're going to play this game this time. And so it looked like if Cloud9 had played that draft against the previous game, it would have been a better one.
yeah, I think the two major things that stood out for me, draft being one of them, the adaptations that they made obviously put them in a far superior position going into games. The second thing being what they, Bjergsen and Double spoke about in the interview, which is that as a team, they made a conscious decision, and they know a lot of teams, a lot of players say it. They say that they're going to follow everyone's calls, but they, as a team, actively made the efforts in scrims and in practices to say, if someone makes a call, we're going to go head first into that battle with them. And yes, sometimes there were misplays. We saw in Game 1, the Haunter TP, not good. But at the end of the day, if you're doing that 100% of the time, 90% of the time, it's going to work out in your favor.
Yeah, and in fact, if you look at, you can use the stats to back up this argument as well, because in the final game, you had Svenskeren 11-0-8, Yellowstar 0-0-18. Those are the only guys in the team that were unkilled. And those were the death leaders of the team coming in, right?
right.
Svenskeren, second most killed jungler, Yellowstar dying for free like all game long because, well, no crap, they're the initiators. They're the one going in, doing things first. And now with the team backing up, well, they go unkilled and all the team fights go their way.
And you were about to say that they're
Actually, yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
league leaders in deaths for the regular season, 1 and 2, Sven and then Yellowstar, I think Right. it was. So.
Yeah, so, I mean,
big
huge on them
turnaround.
to shore up those weaknesses.
Were they making the right calls all along, and it was just everybody else was
Some of them were
following
wrong.
them?
To be fair, some of them were wrong. There were some significant misplays from TSM. Well, I'm not
Right.
absolving them of everything, but yes, the team coming together with those helped a lot.
I'll bring us back. I'll bring us
Okay,
back.
okay.
I want to talk about the player of the series. There was one player that stood out from the rest and claimed our player of the series honors, and that was Bjergsen. Bjergsen impressed in Game 2 on Azir and turned the tables on Jensen by counterpicking Zed and Vel'Koz in the preceding games, leading TSM to victory in this quarterfinal match.
Yeah, not only did he play well, he showed new aspect to his champion pool with the Vel'Koz, and also that he controlled Cloud9's draft. They were trying to draft around Bjergsen and try to exploit him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to hit on, is that it seems like, in retrospect, very bad to early pick your Azir and just give
they think they ban Zed, and then there's other counters that we've seen Jarvan in other regions, and with Bjergsen clearly being the one playing his best on this day, it seems bad to have given him the option to counterpick on blue side when you can avoid it.
Yeah, and I think this is actually kind of a best of 5 scenario where you have Vel'Koz practice, you have Azir practice, keep early picking it. If you find success with it, they're going to try to pick it away from you.
Right.
And then you have the Vel'Koz. So the preparation comes in there because that's not a champion that you just go, oh, I play that in my back pocket.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you definitely grind some Vel'Koz.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. That's what playing around the metagame is. When you know Azir is a go-to A or S tier mid laner, you're aware every team wants Azir. And we saw Fnatic brought in the Kassadin, we saw the Vel'Koz come in from Bjergsen. Like, that is how you use the metagame when you're coming into a high-profile matchup. You understand what's sought after, and you prep those counters, and they work beautifully.
And of course, at the end of the day, as the rest of the team performs better, that enables you more as a mid laner to perform well as well. There you have it.
Yeah, we got you.
Well,
It
with
worked.
TSM's win, exactly. We can update one side of the bracket. Dynamic seeding is in effect, and as the lowest seed, TSM will be facing off against Immortals next week in the semifinals, while Counterlogic Gaming will play against the winner of tomorrow's series. Now, in addition to securing a spot in the semifinals, TSM also guarantee that they will be banking at least 30 championship points, so all of those points becoming more and more important as we move into the summer split. Tomorrow, we will see Liquid and Energy Esports face off for their shot at the semifinals in our second day of playoff matches. These teams have been neck and neck all split, and this is their final opportunity to prove who is the superior team and claim a spot in the semifinals. That will hit your streams tomorrow immediately following the European LCS, or if you're in the Los Angeles area, feel free to come out and cheer these teams on in person. There's a few tickets still available on lolesports.com, so be sure to pick those up. I want to get a brief discussion about tomorrow's matchup, as these teams were neck and neck all season long. Liquid kind of squeezing their way into that 4th place right there in that final week of play. Initial thoughts on that matchup?
Liquid looked like a team that have figured out what they wanted to do, and they have for the last couple of weeks now. It's Dardoch is the big playmaker. Phoenix and Piglet are super, super consistent, and just figuring out where the rest of those guys fit into that roster. And it's just a very cohesive 5-man unit. Even with language difficulties, they're all doing the same thing at the same time. Good enough individual skill in all the 5 roles.
Yeah, and you talked about how they slid into that 4th place spot. I actually think that that's a little low for them. I think that they're actually a very incredibly powerful team. They just haven't shown us everything that they're made of.
All right, and
I'm
with some
biased.
inside information.
You're biased.
I'm biased. Yeah. I think Energy does have like a chance in the series. We're talking Team Liquid up a lot right now, but I think they just need to change their style a little bit from what we saw in the regular season. Impact on tanks versus Lorlo isn't going to be the critical factor in the series unless you put him on carries where he can actually get an advantage. So I think if Energy plays the exact same game they've been playing all season, they might be in some trouble.
All right, well, they've had the 2 weeks, just as TSM did, to kind of figure out some new strategies and maybe come out with a surprise for Team Liquid. Regardless, should be an exciting series. I do want to extend a special thank you to Mark for keeping us company and sharing his insights on the desk today. And for the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and stay classy, League fans.